God's love by how well I'm performing. How about it, Frank? You there with me on that? You try to gauge God's love by how holy you can be or how good you can be. But what I found out is that the Bible tells me that it doesn't matter how bad I mess up, that He still loves me, and I still got to come to the cross and say, Father, forgive me. And the Father stands there just like the Father standing out the road looking for the prodigal son.
Amen.
The Father's longing for the Son to come home.
Amen.
And He goes out there by that gate and looks down that road every day longing for His Son to come back. Can I tell you that you've got a Heavenly Father that's been looking for you? He's been looking for you. He says, I love you. I haven't changed. I haven't changed my love. I'm not here to beat you down. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to restore you. I'm here to lift you up. I'm here to bring you back to the fellowship that we once had. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself not trusting anybody, not loving anybody, not believing anybody, and you'll find yourself sitting in a seat of a bitter, scornful person. Listen to what he says here. He says that if you don't do this stuff and you believe God, you're blessed. He says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in His law he doeth meditate day and night. This is the part I love, because what a promise. What a promise. He or she shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. And the Bible says that bringeth forth its fruit in its season, and its leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. In other words, he's saying if you'll trust God, if the Bible says, draw nigh unto God, and He will draw nigh unto you. Submit yourself therefore unto God, and resist the devil, and he shall flee from you.
Praise God.
Amen.
Praise God.
Now I know we think some people are the devil.
Amen.
But folks, we ain't got no clue what the devil's really like. He's a whole lot nicer and conniving and sneakier than we could ever think about. I mean, he's one of the nicest fellers you'll ever meet in your life. His whole idea is to get your faith off of the cross of Christ and off of what Jesus did for you when He died on Calvary, and get it on something else. Get it on yourself. Get it on your own problem. Listen, you know old Peter. You could write a whole sermon series on the stupid stuff Peter said. And did in the Bible. But we ain't much far from him. I'm telling you. And Peter was always doing crazy things. Saying crazy stuff. But Jesus saw something in Peter that possibly he didn't see in the others. Peter was an outgoing person. You know, they gave up everything to follow Jesus. And you know what? You may have to give up a lot of things to follow after Jesus. Peter and James and John gave up a fishing business to follow after Jesus. I'm not sure they gave up much, because every time you read the Scriptures it says, and they caught nothing. So it may not have been that great of a business to give up. Jesus said, I've come to give you life and give it to you more abundantly. And maybe that fishing boat wasn't the abundant place. Maybe it was just following the Master and learning from the Master. And upon this rock I shall build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Amen.
But Peter, in all of his craziness, Jesus turns around and He says, Peter, Satan has desired to have you, and he wants to sift you like wheat. Now, see, we don't get the right idea of that, because none of us lived back in those days. But if you were to study a little bit of history and a little bit about the sifting of wheat, you would find out that when they sifted wheat in those days, that they picked up the wheat and they shook it. I mean, they shook it and shook it and shook it and shook it, and the wind blew and the shaft blew away and the grain fell to the ground. I mean, it was a violent process. It was violent. It wasn't no little wasn't no little pick up a bouquet of wheat and go. No, it was one of them, I mean, thrashing things. And Jesus said, I know I'm animated. Lucky I ain't speaking you now. But Jesus said, Peter, Satan has desired to have you. And he wants to sift you as wheat. And Peter and them knew exactly what that meant. That meant that there was a violent shaking going on. Listen, some of you have been going through some things in your life that have shaken you.
Amen.
I mean, they're shaking you hard. And you're trying to resist, and you're trying to fight, you're trying to stay strong. But listen, the test or the trial is that violent shaking. It's that allowing you to be shaken so that you would come unto God. Listen, what Jesus told him, He said, don't worry, Peter, I'll pray for you. And He says, Peter, when you're converted, when you become converted, see, it was pre-cross, it was pre-Calvary. Jesus hadn't been to the cross yet. Jesus said, and when thou art converted, encourage the brethren. Crazy Peter. He says, Peter, I'm going to call you Peter. Thou art Peter. I mean, Petros, a small rock. And upon this rock I shall build my church.
Amen.
Amen? And the gates of hell shall. I mean, he saw something crazy in that person. But yet he had confidence to know that, listen, this person would be shaken by Satan. This person would be troubled by Satan. But yet God says, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. Some of you have been going through some violent shaking. I mean some violent shaking. Some of you have been going through cancer. Can I tell you, the cancer is a shaking. Amen. God allows things, but He also uses things to bring you ever so closer and to strengthen you. Brother, you got your shoulder and everything messed up. Can I tell you, God used it? God didn't cause it, but God used it to bring you closer. Amen. Cindy, I know you've been going through a lot of problems here. You was in the hospital this week. But listen, God didn't cause it, but God used it. Amen. Amen. God used it. Amen. Tristan, you poured it. We don't talk about how you done it. But God used it. God didn't cause it, but God used it. Amen. Amen. Brother Don back here, man, he's been battling for a long time, all kinds of sickness. Listen, God didn't cause that, but God been used it. God been using it to work on the man. Some of you may be going through some struggles in your life, and you've been going through financial struggles, and you've been going through health struggles, and job, and emotional, and relationship struggles. Listen, God didn't cause all of that, but God takes that. He allows the enemy to sift you as wheat. He allows the enemy to shake you, and you say, oh, I just want to be turned